Hello, and welcome to the Apparel Bosses Thrive. This series is designed to support entrepreneurs who are interested in developing an apparel business, whether that business is to promote to other companies, to promote to schools and sports teams, or if you are interested in just doing this as a side hustle for a few shirts here or there. Not as sure what how much value you'll find in this presentation, because this is a billion-dollar industry and we are really interested in helping support people who are ready to tap into those millions of the billions. But you are welcome to stay along for the ride and see what you get out of this. But if you are here for the purposes that we outline, then let's get started.
So meet your industry specialist. That would be us. My name is Marlon. This is my wife, Joanna. We started in the industry in 2008 and purchased an existing business in 2012. It was a long, tough, hard process where we made lots of mistakes. We learned from those mistakes, though, and we're hoping that you'll be able to learn from our mistakes and not have to make your own. So let's dig right in.
Some of the things that we offer our business, we have over 6 employees. We are getting ready to hire another salesperson and customer service representative. Equipment at our shop, we have a manual and automatic screen press, a DTG machine, 6 embroidery machines, a wide format rolling printer, which we use for like signs and banners and things like that. We also do sublimation and vinyl cutting all in-house. Some of the other things that we do, we funnel out to other people. But I say that to let you know that we have a lot of things in-house to support you if you don't have a directed or a specific person that you utilize now for your printing needs. What we have found in doing this work for so long is that people come to us for various reasons. It seems as if everybody has a t-shirt side hustle. Like, people will post on Facebook that they need somebody to do these 5 shirts by Saturday. And then you'll look at the thread and it's like 30 people's names represented or recommended for doing shirts. We're like, where all these people come from? Most of them are doing them just to be, in the business, and that's totally fine. What we want to do is make sure that those people that are doing it as a side hustle are educated on the processes as well, because that impacts all of us. And then what other things we found is that people sometimes come to us because they have went to other places like Custom Ink or Vistaprint, and either the service wasn't what they wanted or the quality wasn't what they wanted. And so we want to make sure that we have enough information to share with you so that you can tap into knowing how to do these things well. In this introductory course, we will talk about the why, the what, and the how. It's kind of how we broke it down. And when we think about the why, it's what's our why behind it, and you tapping into what's going to be your why behind doing this work. We want you to know that there's really money in this industry for you, and then what is your mindset? Like, how are you making sure that you have your thoughts in line to be successful in this business? When we talk about the what, we're going to talk about some like the real nitty gritty of like licensing, equipment needs, and then clothing vendors. And then the how is, how do you price your things? How do you market your things? How are you going to capture the money that is coming into you and make sure that you have a process that is clear and transparent so that you don't have any problems when it comes to the IRS and all of those people coming for you? And then talk about kind of print processes depending on where you are in wanting to engage in this business.
So these are some of the additional courses that we'll be offering, kind of supplementary to what you're watching today, and some more in-depth things as to how you can be successful. So in these courses, you'll be learning more in-depth about art preparation, and we'll walk you through basic concepts to know the difference between raster and vector, how your artwork should be set up. In advanced modules, we'll look at design diversity and logos and just some different specifics as to how you can be more successful in this industry and preparing art and marketing, sales, doing a lot of different things with your business.
And I think one thing that has been interesting for us is we started off just thinking about doing shirts and apparel, and then come to find out this industry is so much more than that. So that one section around branching outside of apparel will really be, I guess, mind-blowing if you haven't tried anything outside of apparel, and then very lucrative as well. So if we tap into the why, let Marlon kind of share his big why, and then I'll share mine.
So my big why is really in line with business. So there's a lot of different businesses that I'm involved with. So this particular business, as well as some others, you got to really know why you're in business. So my big why is to create an environment for team to thrive. So my team consists of myself, our employees, our stakeholders, just anybody that really I come into contact with. And my big why really in life is to help other people succeed. So I want to succeed, and I want other people to be successful as well. So everything is included for me and team, and I want everybody to be successful and reach whatever heights that they can reach.
And I would say for me, my big why is I'm an educator, been in education for 20 plus years. And so everything for me is centered around people being knowledgeable about whatever it is they want to do. I never try and boss kids in the different directions in which they want to choose to go. But I'm like, whatever you're going to do, you need to know about it and be prepared to do the real work of whatever that task is. So I want people to have the tools and the knowledge to execute with excellence. That matters to me, and matters to our ancestors, and matters to everybody. So that is kind of how we got there. So I want you to pause for a moment and pause the video, and then go into the handout that we've sent to you and identify what is your big why. There's probably one other question prior to the why, so take a moment to answer those both, and then come back and start this video. All right, well, thanks for taking that time to kind of capture your why. Wanted to touch on we talked about our individual whys, but as a company, our why is connected to what we said for our personal selves, but as well as educating the people who are doing the work. If I haven't made that clear, we are interested in making sure that everyone who is participating in the industry is aware of the pieces that make this industry successful and make it important. For us, we've ran into a number of people who are charging $7 and $10 for shirts, and that impacts all of us when someone is doing that. It implies or makes people believe that that's the going rate, $10. Yeah, that makes sense. That does not make sense. Blanks by themselves, when you get them for wholesale, it's about $4, $5, depending upon which kind of shirt, sometimes more. And so to charge $7 or $10 for a printed shirt, no me gusta. So we want to make sure that everybody's educated and has the tools to make sure that they're successful in this industry. So that's kind of our why. Glad you had an opportunity to write your own why. We're going to get into a little bit more around the money piece here.
All right, so in this industry, there is money in it for you. We want everyone to thrive. There's plenty enough consumers and niches and people out there that want to buy different things, especially if you've got great ideas. There are plenty of people that want those things. People come to us all the time, and they want to launch a brand, and they're not really ready, and they think they are. The market is not saturated, though. There's a lot of people out there that are selling shirts, and there's a lot of people that are buying them. There's plenty of room out there for everyone. So as long as we maintain that standard of excellence for everybody in the industry, then we'll all benefit from that. So we need to keep pricing consistent. We need to be paid what we're worth. We don't need to diminish the worth of the creativity and the artistic ability that we have by selling things too cheaply. And then we also need to put good product out there as well. So that's what we're here to help you do.
Indeed. I am a researcher at heart, and I'm like, well, how much does this industry really pull in? And I looked and found, and it said basically that the global t-shirt printing industry is brought in around in 2020 around $3.6 billion, and that is increasing every year by around 10%. And so if you think about what that means, there's really plenty for all of us to get fed and get fed well. People always want to buy something to market their business. Organizations are buying things. Sports teams are buying things every year to represent their own company. So you have access points into a number of different areas, niche areas. Just kind of want to touch on mindset just a little bit. I think that mindset is something that's important to make sure that we have the correct thought process. We talked about like the money part, like people paying or charging what they're worth. That's a mindset piece. They'll think that if I tell them that it costs $20, they won't want to buy it from me. They'll go to this other person because somebody can give it to them cheaper. But not if everybody is staying with the standard of excellence and standard of $20 is the going rate for a decorated apparel item. You have to know that you have $1 million mindset. You have to have $1 million mindset that this industry is able to produce that for your family, and that you are in this at the right time and you have the right products that people want and need. People are consumers, and you can make sure that you tap into that market and get your fair share. So when we are investing in our business, that includes educating ourselves. There are a number of conferences that take place for people in our industry to go out and learn more. You come back and you're like, oh, they got this new thing and this new thing, and it's great to know those things. Don't go buy everything though, because I'm the queen of like, Marlon, we got to do this next. No, there's somebody else who has that equipment that you can contract with and then still be able to provide that to the marketplace. So just trying to make sure to understand that part of educating yourself is a component of that mindset, and you have to invest in your education. No excuses, really. You're going to run into roadblocks. There are a number of things that's going to happen that's going to cause you to want to pack up your bat and ball and go home. Your mindset has to be right to say, that's just a hurdle. I'm going to go home today, but I'm coming back tomorrow. Mindset. We're going to talk more about mindset in future courses. So just know that there's plenty of room to grow a healthy $1 million mindset, because there's millions to be made in this industry. So some of the struggles that we are running into, just kind of to recap what we've talked about, the reason why most businesses fail to achieve an effective launch or to stay in the industry. And a lot of people just are like, oh, I'm gonna just do this for a side hustle. If somebody asks me for a shirt, I'll make them one. But they're not actively pursuing this business, and that is a mistake for many of us. So not knowing what you need to get started, that is a place in which people struggle. And then wondering, again, can I really charge that? Yes, you can. We're going to talk more about that in the how section of this presentation. But yes, we're going to talk about why you charge what you charge. It's not to gouge people, but it's to make sure that you are not doing it for free. Is there room at the table for me? We kind of touched on that. Like, this is a $4 billion industry, and that's just the t-shirt part alone. But I mentioned before that there's other components of this industry: signs, banners, pens, pencils, any kind of promotional products. Those are its own chunk of millions. So if you stay in a t-shirt realm, there's enough room for you there. If you then add on to other spaces, there's even more room at the table. So yeah, there's room for you. And then when we talked about, like, some additional struggles around mindset, like that poverty mindset and that imposter syndrome mindset, like going into businesses and having conversations with CEOs about what they need to promote their brand, there you have to be confident that you belong at that table. You belong to, you are supposed to be seated with that CEO talking about their business, their brand, and helping make sure that you are able to get them to where they need to be. Yes, you do not need to feel like you are an imposter in that space. So there's a number of things that we can talk about and help you and support you in getting to where you need to be when it comes to all of the pieces and parts of this industry. So excited about such things, though.
All right, so the why homework. So this is a point where you can look at your worksheet that was forwarded to you and identify your big why. You already took some time to write that down, but that's something that you're going to want to keep taking a look at continuously to know why you're in business and what your main overarching goal is for being in business. What you'll also want to write down, there's space on that sheet as well to determine a launch schedule. Figure out what date it is that you want to, put some products out there to be sold, and learn from what you're putting out there so that you can make different moves to change those things and do better at it, the next time, and keep on continuously improving. And then what you're also going to do is you're going to fail. That's something that is inevitable in this industry and really many other industries as well. But what we need to do is to learn from our mistakes and keep improving. That's only going to make us better moving forward. So at this point, go ahead and pause again and look at that worksheet and write those things in, determine your schedule, make sure that your big why is there, and then, look at how you're going to do it.
Cool. Pause the video. We're going to keep on going and get to the next section, which is the what part. And under this section, we are talking about the ways in which you need to consider licensing and those pieces that are important but tedious. Talk about equipment a little bit, and then also vendors. So jumping right on in, can't stress this enough. We want to legitimize this business, this industry, by being registered, being licensed, and having bank accounts in our business name. You open a bank account because people pay you $20 for that shirt that you just did as a side hustle. You don't need a business account for that. But what we are talking about is getting into the $1,000 accounts, and those couple of thousands of dollars accounts. If you go into a corporation and they have 100 employees that need embroidered polos, as well as some t-shirts for their dress down Friday, that's not going to be something that they're going to write a check to you for. You need to have your business information, and then they need to pay taxes. So we want to make sure that you register with the Secretary of State in order to get your information with them. Apply for EIN and a sales tax license. Now, this sales tax license is necessary for you to buy your goods wholesale from wholesale vendors. If you don't have that retail tax license, whatever that word is, if you don't have that, you won't be able to open an account with them. And so you are not supposed to go to Walmart and get shirts to print on. You are supposed to touch base with Sanmar, Alpha Broder, we'll talk more about them, and be able to get your shirts at a discounted rate to then be able to mark them up to sell them as a retail price to this corporation that has those 100 customers. Okay, so with the sales tax, you don't pay tax on the goods. That sales tax license, that retail license, you don't pay tax on those goods. You do charge tax to the people who are purchasing those goods. And then you take that tax money that you charge them and you put that away to pay to the state so they don't come and take stuff from you. So you collect money on the things that you sell. And then again, if we are trying to get out of having to do my regular job and then my side hustle job, when we want to make this our real job, then we have to legitimize ourselves and get an account and get all of these different things set up.
Yeah, and let's be honest, that's the non-glamorous part of it. It's the part that seems kind of tedious, like, it's not really necessary. But, if you're really going to be in business, that really is necessary. It's going to help you out in the long run, and actually even in the short run, too. If you're paying retail price for things and decorating them, you're cutting yourself out of a lot of profit. Mm-hmm. When you get that sales tax license and you can buy wholesale and you can have different things done by a company like us at wholesale cost, that increases your profit and puts more money in your pocket. Mm-hmm. So we're going to talk a little bit too about equipment. So you can start with little to no equipment. Again, there are places just like us who can do a lot of contract printing for you. And that's a good way to kind of break into the market without spending, money hand over fist to try to figure out how it is that you're going to print and what you're going to print. So there's a lot of different things that you can do without having equipment. But if you are going to start with a piece of equipment, what we would recommend is a heat press, because there's a lot that you can do with a heat press with screen print transfers and vinyl, and pressing those onto shirts without having a whole lot of other equipment. So Hottronics is one of the presses that we particularly like. It's manufactured well and it works well. So we'll give you some more information at some point too about how to get one of those presses and how to get started in that realm. Back to reasons to start with a heat press as a first piece of equipment. That really kind of, again, minimizes your outlay of cash to be able to do something. Heat presses can range on the low end from a few $100s up to, on the high end, some of them are about $1,500, $2,000. But again, with a fairly low priced heat press, you can still get a lot done. So it can help you do some things with transfers, as far as putting your design on a lot of different size items as well as different colors of item, and still get some variety and not having to do big print runs of a dozen or 2 dozen or 3 dozen pieces at a time, where you won't know what size your customer might need. So when you're thinking about that, what you're going to want to do is to keep it simple. Go with a design maybe in a couple of colors, a single color design, maybe in a black and a white that can be put on a lot of different colors of items. And then you can put that again on a lot of different styles and colors and sizes of items, and that'll allow you to be able to understand how much money you're spending and how much business you're doing, how much profit you're creating, and it'll be much easier to kind of crunch the numbers and figure out how that's going to work out for you.
Right. And I think that's, very specific to a person who is trying to start an apparel brand. I think about like In Him when it started. They just had that one little logo that they put on everything, and then they added more things to it. And so just thinking, if you're trying to start that kind of apparel business, then that is a great recommendation. If you're going to be doing it to go out to other customers and getting their company's logo to put on shirts and things like that, they have to give you the sizes. They have to give you the quantities. They have to give you a deposit. I forgot to mention about deposits. All of those things in order to get started. So that's kind of 2 different realms of the world in this industry. So keep that in mind. When we think about clothing vendors, let Marlon tap on to some of those, some of his favorites that we use at the shop the most.
So yeah, we again, because we have that sales tax license, we can tap into all of those different companies that provide clothing. So there's Sanmar, there's TSC, there's SNS, there's Alpha Broder, and then some of those places are going to have warehouses that may be close to you where you can physically go and pick up items. So that makes things That makes things a lot easier when you don't have to have everything shipped to you, because that shipping is going to be at your cost. Unless you're buying super bulk, you know, once you get over like $200, $250 in an order from one of those places, a lot of times they'll ship it to you for free. But if you only need to get like 3 or 4 or 5 shirts, or, you know, a dozen even at a time, you're not going to get to that point to where you can get it shipped for free. So if you're in a major city, there's a lot of those warehouses in like Chicago and Florida and Texas and, you know, some of the bigger cities in those areas. Denver, obviously, where we're at, we can run right down the street and pick some things up when we're, you know, needing a small order or just a few things. So that definitely helps you keep your costs down when you can buy wholesale. And then don't have to pay for shipping. And then there's a lot of great items that you're able to get. There's a lot of variety. And even some of your larger brands use these same items to print on, and they'll just retag those items and have their brand name as the brand of the shirt. So, you know, the shirt that I'm wearing right now, you know, whether I bought it from Walmart or, you know, Tommy Hilfiger or Nike. Now, Nike usually does their own kind of thing or whatever, but a lot of times it's the same shirt that you can get from the suppliers that we work with. So.
And so that whole thing about tagging and rebranding, that is a whole nother ball game that will come up in our master course that we talk about. We'll show you more information about that. There's so much to do, so many things to tap into in this industry that you can really make hand over fist. I mean, fist over hand. What's the saying? Whatever it is. Hand over fist. There we go. You can do it. And so we just are here to help you understand how to do it well. So when we talk about, you know, like charging your worth, if you don't charge the right price, you're eating that cost of the shipping that is coming to you. That should be built in. You know, those kind of things to think about. This is where, you know, consultation with us would be beneficial for you. We are a wealth of knowledge, and we are happy to share that information. We have people come to the shop all the time who are like, hey, we're going to start our own brand. And they're like, I got this fire design. We're like, that design is cute. And, okay, so what color shirt you going to put it on? What kind of shirt you going to put it on? How many are you going to order at a time? What print process are you going to use? All those questions, they're like, huh? What? I don't know. Well, that is like all of the nuts and bolts of being able to launch your brand that we can consult with you about. Happy to do that and get you going in the right direction. So let's keep going. That's pretty much the what, and we talk about the what struggles. Really, at the end of the day, the biggest what struggle is getting legit. Going through the rigmarole of applying, telling all the people all your business, all your information in order to get these licenses, but it's necessary. So that's where the struggle really is there. But it's just a thing to do. It's not complicated in any way. We've been talking without recording. So it's not complicated in any way to do. You can do it. It's just a matter of getting it done. And then when we think about like another struggle is like determining which print processes. Do I need a heat press, or am I just going to work with a local contractor or a contractor across country? We're in Denver, but we work with people who are all over the place. We ship to New York and North Carolina and Ohio. We do it all because we have a decent name in the industry, and so we have a number of friends that like, hey, my clients, my customers, my company. So we can still work with you regardless of where you are. And then where to find those quality blanks to print upon. Those are some of the struggles, but they're easy fixes. So we can help. It's shake and bake, and I helped. All right. Your homework really is what I said. Fill out the paperwork. Contact 3 companies that you want to obtain contract pricing for. Contract pricing is not the same as retail pricing. You need to get contract pricing information from people that is cheaper, so you can then add it on to your own cost and then charge and then sell for your own goods. And then sign up with some wholesale vendors. So on your homework sheet, on your note catcher, there's homework in there for you to do some of those processes and help you work through that and identify some people that you want to work with. As you see, we already put our information there. You can contact us for the contract pricing. We'll probably just email it to you anyway. But we are happy to work with you and get you going.
So. And working with somebody like us is really key, because that keeps your costs down, and you don't have to have any equipment. You can get started and able to print, even a single shirt for you as a sample, and it won't break the bank. So, I mean, that's really key. Finding somebody that can do that. We do a lot of different things. We probably do more than most shops of our size with the different items that we're able to provide, from promotional products all the way up through signs, banners, business cards, all of the shirt types, embroidery and screen print. You're not going to find a lot of places that do all of that. So finding one like us is really, a big thing to be able to keep your costs down and do a lot more for your customers and your clients.
We do a lot of stuff, and we help our people. So, all right, we're going to get to this meat of the how, and then we're going to let you go. We only have a few more minutes to spend time with you to make sure that you are knowledgeable about how to get started, and then we'll set up some ways in which you can, tap into our knowledge base and others that work with us, and make sure that you are prepped to make that money, honey. So the how really is, when we talk about making money in this market, making money and marketing, talking about more about the financials, really talking about how you price your items, and then some print processes. So I'm going to tap Marlon, and he's going to talk about that real quickly with you.
Yeah, so this section is really the fun part. It's the glory part of the whole business. This is where people really want to start. They want to start with, like, I got this great design. I want to get it on something. I want to, put it out there for people to buy. And we try to reel them back in and get those other things taken care of first, so that they can get to this part, which is, again, it's the fun part. But, pricing your products is a big thing. So you want to price it right. Like we said earlier on, you don't want to devalue yourself by pricing it too low. You don't want to price yourself out the market either by pricing it too high, thinking that you're, the next greatest designer that everybody's going to want to pay $250 for your for your Yeezy like T-shirt. And again, maybe they do, but you kind of want to ease into that and see what the market will bear. But just to keep in mind about pricing. Generally, you're going to want to double the price of what it costs you to make something. That way your profit is built in, but it's not quite that simple. So you have to add in your artwork time, because, it may take you 2, 3, 4 hours or whatever to come up with a design that you like enough to put out there. One thing, too, before I go any further, generally people in this business are in business to make money. So keep that in mind. And don't get so caught up in what you like. We get a lot of customers that come in and they're starting their brand and they're putting things out there, and they're like, oh, well, I don't like pink and I don't like purple, so I don't want to print anything in pink or purple. Well, there's a lot of people out there that like pink and purple. So, if you're selling to people, you want to print what people like and not necessarily what you like. So you got to keep that in mind, that, you're looking at your market and what your market wants, and that's who you want to appeal to. Not to say that you don't want to just completely go away from what it is that you like, but you want to make things that you like that other people like as well, because that's who's going to buy it. You're not going to buy your stuff. I mean, you're going to make some for yourself, but you're not going to be your primary customer. So along with that artwork, like I said, if it takes you 3 hours to create a design, you're going to have to book that into your products. So 3 hours, if you consider your value $100 an hour, then that's $300 that you have to recoup for your time invested in making that product. So, that might be a few dollars onto, your particular item that you're putting out, in order to, once you sell 100 items, now you'll break even on that art cost and you will have paid yourself back. So you just got to keep those things in mind when you're pricing things. So along with that, The financials is next. There's going to be a lot of different ways that you can put your item out there to sell it. You can take money through Square. There's different websites that have e-commerce, booked in with them. You got to keep in mind how you're going to ship. You want to ship at the lowest cost if you're shipping things to different states. There's other interfaces out there like what is the one that we
You talking about for shipping?
No, to sell your item, like
Big Cartel, Shopify. People love Shopify. Big Cartel is free for like a smaller chunk of products, so we would recommend like starting there, and then you can shift over into Shopify. Just because you don't know really what you're doing yet. Do you want to spend hundreds of dollars getting started on a platform? Maybe, maybe not. So just something to think about.
Yeah, so you're definitely going to want to look at different platforms and different ways to put your product out there, different ways, obviously, to get paid, to ship, to keep those costs down, and there's a lot of different things. We'll list some of those things in the information that we give to you. And then also, you're going to want to look at different print processes. This is very important because you want to give people a product, again, that feels soft, high end, or again, that might not be what you're looking for. Maybe it's just the cheapest way to get an idea out there, on a shirt, and that's going to be a different product. So different fabrics are going to be key. Different fabric to get printed on different ways. So polyester is going to be a fabric that is kind of moisture wicking, but you can't print on it the same way as cotton. So you got to keep those fabric types in mind and know how they can be printed on, and know what their feel is going to be, what kind of fit, because that's going to be important to just give whatever idea across with your product that's out there. So
yeah. I mean, it's a lot to know in this industry, and luckily we've been doing it for a while, so we kind of can tell you the ins and outs and tricks and trades. So keep that in mind as we are launching this new platform.
All right, so in addition to fabric types, we also have several different processes for printing. We'll go into more detail again on the different processes and how they all work and when you might want to use different ones at different times in some additional videos that we'll have and additional programs that we'll have. But just give you an overview, those include screen print. There's direct-to-garment printing, which is a full color process, prints directly to a shirt. There's single color vinyl, where vinyl is basically cut. Some of the home equipment that goes with that is like the Cricut. Cuts vinyl out, and then if you have a heat press, you can press it to a shirt. Then you've also got full color vinyl, which is kind of similar, but it's a vinyl that if you've got a printer and cutter, you can print first and then cut it and then heat press it onto a garment. Mm-hmm. And then there's also sublimation, which is another full color process, and that's basically specifically for polyester. It's a full color process where you print to paper and then sublimate. You press that image onto a fabric, onto polyester, and it pretty much dyes the fibers. It's really color fast. Then you've also got embroidery. Obviously that's sewing onto a piece of fabric or a garment. There's heat transfers, where basically it's the same process as screen print, except your image is screen printed onto a piece of paper or release sheet in reverse, and then you can heat press that on, and it gives you almost the exact same effect as screen printing directly to your garment. And that can be a single color, it can be a few colors, and then there's a similar process that is a full color transfer, where it's digitally printed, but the process is more similar to screen print, where it's digitally printed onto a transfer paper and then it's pressed onto a shirt. So,
and I think like with screen printing, when people haven't done the work before, that they don't understand that each color is a screen and each screen costs a setup fee. And sometimes people feel a way about charging someone a setup fee for the screen printing. And like that gets into the piece around like not charging what you're supposed to. It's a little bit of work to do screen printing. So you want to make sure that you're charging appropriately. And don't run out and buy a screen print machine because it's a lot involved. Not to say you can't get one, but do all the research and understand the process. Like, if you're in the area, you can come to our shop. We will happily give you a tour to show you and like let you watch our screen print queen hook it up. So you can understand like all of the pieces and parts that go into it, which is another good reason why a tour of a facility is good, so you understand what you're charging people for. So if you knew the work that went into it, then you wouldn't charge $7.50. You just wouldn't. So that is kind of the end of the how component. So I want to talk about kind of, oh, I'm trying to click with the wrong button. Sorry. Kind of getting into like the struggles pieces, the how struggles, but around like the how do I get paid part. We can help walk you through setting up a big cartel. Shopify and Big Cartel have some similarities. They're different, nuanced pieces, but we can walk you through that process as part of our course offerings, as well as some of our consultation fees that are connected to that. You could also look into doing pop-up shops, like setting up those kind of spaces. There's a number of people who do those, and you have to weigh the cost around what the booth rental is and how many shirts you need to produce and make to break even. But those are all pieces that we think through. And then like how to keep track of your taxes and your expenses. QuickBooks is what we use. We also use Square, but we don't use it for that part of it. We just use it as a funnel, a money funnel in. But QuickBooks helps with the taxes pieces and the managing all of that. And it also gives you like a great breakdown of like how much money you're spending on your goods. We talked about cost of goods, and then how much money you're spending on the actual print process, the different processes that you may have, and then that helps give you a bigger picture of like, this is what your profit looks like. So profit and loss statements, have you ever heard of those? QuickBooks is great at producing those for you. That's helpful when you get ready to apply for loans and grants. Sometimes grants are options as well. And then lastly, another struggle is just thinking about how the heck am I going to print this? Do I want to do it as a DTG? DTG has a different feel than sublimation, than like in screen printing. But like there's dark DTG and then there's light DTG. All of these different things that we are happy to help you to navigate through.
Yes, there's a lot of different programs and apps and websites that'll help you sell, that'll help you get those things set up. One of the reasons why I've chosen Big Cartel for some of the things that I offer is because you don't have to worry too much about the taxes. They'll calculate the taxes, and if you sell through their platform, they'll pay the taxes to whoever needs to get the taxes. So I'm like, that's one of the headaches that I don't like to deal with. So that's a way to kind of get around it. As you research those things and figure out what platforms do what and what you're good at and what you're not good at, then you can figure out what road to go down and makes it the easiest and works the best for you. So your homework on the how is not actually homework. That's the place where you actually get at to do some work.
Do the work.
No homework. It's just start working right now. Now this is the nitty gritty of it. This is where you start to see the results of your efforts. You establish that platform and your accounting process so that you know how your items are going to be sold and how you keep track of it, keep track of the taxes, create the pricing for your items, what kind of quantities you want to print in, how you can offer, maybe you take orders and then print higher quantities and then mail those out on a specific date that you give your customers, and then also what products you want to offer, how you're going to print. This is really the nitty gritty, and it's really the part that everybody wants to get to. Is the fun part where you get your designs together, you get to put them on something, you get to wear them, you get to take pictures, you get to offer them, you get to see how excited people are about your products.
And then you make your money.
So, this is where it's time to take action and get her done.
Done.
Now that you've taken care of those preliminaries, this is where you actually get to jump right in and see if you've learned enough to start making some money, or see if you need to brush up on some things. So this is where it really starts to hit the pavement.
The rubber meets the road.
Rubber meets the road.
So congratulations. You made it to the end of this module, this introductory basics, foundational, whatever word we can come up with for this is just touching the surface. Really, there's so much more information that we could share with you. We could be here with you all day and all tomorrow and the next day. But we're going to let you free and let you go ahead and digest. Go back to your handout and go through and work it out. Work through the processes so that you can think through what you need to do to get started. When I tell you that there's money in here, clearly I'm not playing games. I'm not trying to do smoke and mirrors and make you think it's so. It's there. You too can make this your full-time gig. This does not have to be your part-time work. This is his full-time gig. I've been in education all my life. I ain't leaving it. I'm working on another degree, so I ain't going nowhere with it. However, I want to participate in the educating of people, and I do work at the shop. I only work part-time in education because I want to do that work. That's my passion work. This is my second passion work. This is his kind of jam. So this is where we love to work and make sure that other people can benefit and your family can benefit from it. Generational wealth is what we are really after. So how can we help support you in doing that? So you have made it to the end, and you are well on your way to being a boss. But we want to make sure that you understand some of the other pieces that we can offer you. We will be doing additional free courses, and then we have the ones that are a small fee courses. But we talked about the mindset and that you have to be growing yourself all the time, and that requires some investment. And an investment in yourself and in your learning is super important. And everything that we do and everything that we give will have value above and beyond whatever we could charge you. So we are very cognizant of keeping our fees low, but also making sure that we
keep our value high too.
There you go.
We want you to get more out of it than you feel like you're putting in as far as money is concerned. We want you to feel like it's well worth it. If it's not worth it to you, then we don't want to be putting it out there. It's not worth it to us to be just charging a fee to put something out there that is not up to par. So
you're gonna get some good stuff.
Absolutely, we appreciate you. And this, again, while the printing part is our forte, is my jam, is what I do, the videography of it and putting this kind of program to it, this is kind of new for us. So, we thank you for putting up with us in, whatever quality this comes out. That's not what we do. We got the education, and, we've got those key points that you'll want to know in order to get started and be successful. So, the videography part of it, the putting the PowerPoints together, the actual course, that's not our forte. But we're doing the best we can. We're learning at that piece of it. So, look for those additional courses that are going to come out with more in depth about, how to get the licensing, just like step by step, how to get your sales tax license and, get set up with the state, get set up with your wholesalers, finding out about the print processes, and just more in depth about what's even the formulation of the ink and how long it's supposed to last. It's one of those questions that we get all the time. Is this going to wash off after 2 or 3 times in the washing machine?
It should not.
And it should not, but it does happen. I've had shirts that I've purchased from different places, and you wash it one time and it looks like it's been through a war. So definitely not something that you want to be putting out there to people. So creation of art, like I said,
that's
about
him all day.
The vector resolutions when you're needing to print, what vector actually is and why it's necessary for screen print. It's having that hard line that separates one color and another color. You've got to have that because you're printing something onto a film, and then there's space that goes, where the ink goes through, and a space where it doesn't. That's how your ink gets on the shirt. So, it's really important, but it's something that, a lot of people don't understand. They'll see an image on a computer screen, and it'll be super, super tiny. We'll tell people you can't print with that image because it's super, super tiny. It might have shading, gradients, different things like that in there that are going to make it to where you don't have a separation of two colors. You got to have that in order to screen print. So, that's something that you'll learn more about in the art preparation section. And then, along with the marketing and sales and branching out, again, there are millions and millions and millions of promotional products and products that you can get a logo or an image on that can be marketed. And that's a whole world in and of itself. So,
and that world requires no equipment on your part. You ship that, you send that out to another vendor that they specialize in that. So really your work, your lift is in getting the art ready, getting the quantities, and getting your money. The end. So thank you so much for your time. We will see you on the next go round. You'll get information from us, additional emails for ways to sign up for consultation. Oh, I think there's another slide. There is how to partner with us. So real quick, courses. We're going to roll out courses in phases. Those 3 different modules you saw on this last slide really explains some of the courses, but we're going to phase those out in modules and phase the modules out in our delivery. So you'll get information about how those will roll out. Contract printing. If you need a screen printer, we're your guy and your gal. We can do it. So let us know. You can also come and do a tour in our shop if you are local, and we will explain all of the different things to you as well. Give us a call if you want to set up consultation because you have additional questions and want to get started in this industry. We are happy to do that. We will send you a link to our site so that you can set up 15-minute session, an hour session, so we can you pick our brains and we can share all of the information that we have in that time period that you allot for us to do that. So that is it.
One more slide? Is there one more
I don't
slide?
think it's one more slide, babe. Nope, that's it.
Okay.
All right, finally done. Thank you.
Thanks. We appreciate you guys.
Be blessed.
We'll see you soon.